In Australia, you are not going to see a pastor, you know, because you will meet your pastor at the doctor's place too, all the time. But in Nigeria, if you are sick, because there are no doctors that are willing to help you, you go to the pastors. In fact, if you see a doctor, after a few times, the doctor will refer you to see your pastor. Because it's the only way you can get healed, right? This is my sound funny and a little bit controversial, but this is the reality of our lives. So I'm just saying to you, Harry, that it is because there's nothing left for us. So what is left is our ethnicity, is our religion, and all those things that keeps the system going. How you understand this is here. Like when a policeman is coming to your house to help you, probably they won't ask you your ethnicity or even your skin color first. Of course they do that in some instances, don't let us forget. But generally, in most of the time, you get help. But in Nigeria today, if you are passing through the airport and you see some of my videos when I record those corrupt officials always demanding for bribe at the airport, they will be speaking in their own languages, you know. They will be having conversation right in front of you so as to bypass your understanding of what kind of trouble they want to get you into. Because that's how Nigeria has been designed over the last few years to suit the agenda of those who are destroying Nigeria. They are the ones who introduce ethnicity. But what is interesting, and this is based on my experience, when it is time to share money at the top, there's no ethnicity, there's no religion. In fact, there is no country in the world where people are more godless than Nigerian leaders. When they want to do bad things, they forget God. That is why sometimes I make the controversial statement, and I hang on to it, that it looks like Nigerian leaders somehow were able to design their own gods. So you have designer gods in Nigeria that don't get upset even when the leaders are bad. You find somebody who has just embezzled the money meant for hospital is sitting in front of the church. When the Buri in Delta State came from prison, pastors and bishops were killing themselves to preach at his Thanksgiving ceremony. Pastors, all of them, they were outdoing themselves. So it's the kind of country that you have. Things have really gone very bad, and our value system completely destroyed and decimated. That's why we have that. And I think I can take the next question after saying that.
Okay, thank you for that. Silas has a microphone over there, and then I have one. So we'll take one from each side. So Silas.
Sorry, I have about 7 hands up from this
wow,
section.
We're going to be here all night.
I'll start from this table, and then one from here, one from there.
So,
Okay, I probably would need a piece of paper and pen so that I can keep track. Sorry, we're supposed to come with one, but we came directly from the airport.
My name is Fred Bello. I've been there for a while too, more than 28 years.
Wow.
And my question is regarding the voting pattern, the way it has been structured, like in some state, like it is state, yes, whereby there are vote buying. How do you think you can overcome that big challenges?
Yes, thank you. Let's take 3 questions at a time, and then we can answer them.
okay. Listen, we're going to be disciplined here. We'll come over there.
So my name is Okechukwu Mwanoka. I work with the local area coordination of the National Disability Insurance Company agency. I've been around here for like 5 years. Sowore, I followed you. I'm not here to unravel anything new about you. I followed you on social media. I know where you stand on virtually every issue. But I'm an Igbo man, and I just want a little bit of a clarification on what you think about the Biafra and restructuring. Igbo people feel marginalized, and that's for good reason. Question is, what are you going to do differently that others haven't done that will give Igbos that sense of inclusiveness? Thank you.
One more question.
The top person, Kevin.
My name is Calvin. I've lived here for some time. I don't want to mention the years. My question is, what do you think is a challenge that will prevent you from being the president of Nigeria?
Good question.
Thank you so much. This is one more.
The fourth one.
Okay.
My name is Rafael Osiko. I've been here for some time too. My question to you is, I know you are here to influence us, to give us some your visions.
Yes.
I know right away that voting in diaspora, I don't think our votes, we even can't in Nigeria. We don't even have the system to vote overseas. What are your mechanisms to be able to organize all the people diaspora to actually vote for you?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. I will start with that last question. I have no power to make people in diaspora vote. If people in the diaspora could vote in this particular election next year, I won't be campaigning anymore. I would have won the election.
Yes. Very true.
No question about it, because nobody can bribe you. They know that you have independent minds and that you have sound minds and doing well. And I have to comment, by the way, that those of you who have spent 20-something years old, 27 years in this country, you look younger than those of us who came to America 90 years ago. What is the secret?
It's just the water.
Yes. And the air too, yeah. Air quality. So, but what I plan to do is to, as soon as I'm sworn in, work directly to support diaspora voting. So that people in diaspora, who are the biggest investors today in Nigeria, are given the right to determine the leaders of Nigeria. Because the burden of Nigeria is not only on your shoulders, it's in your heart every day. You know the trick now. When you start getting those WhatsApp messages, they come first as prayers and then they become proverbs later when you are not answering. It is so important that we allow you to participate in the life of the country. And I feel like if diasporans were to be given the right to vote, Nigeria would have changed earlier than now.
Yes.
Because we would have forced so many of these leaders to do what is right with your vote, not through Western Union, which they don't respect. Vote buying is Nigeria's newest way of manipulating the electoral process. But it has always been around with us. When people are determined to end their suffering, nobody can buy their conscience. And I will tell you that they also tried to buy votes in 2015, but because Nigerians mostly accidentally thought that Buhari would be different, the people who had the most money lost the election. In fact, I have a theory that anybody that wins the election will lose the general election. Because it is through Ekiti that they exposed their strategy for rigging the national general election. When they did it in 2014, Fayose won, but Jonathan lost the general election because it was through Ekiti that people figured out the trick they wanted to use for the national election. So, vote buying will come, but we also fail, because this time around, we need total freedom and nobody can buy it off of us. And in 2015, we actually didn't have a chance to have a third alternative. But in this 2019, there are clear alternatives. What they say in 7-Up, that the difference is clear. Difference is clear in terms of intellect, in terms of capacity, capability, and pedigree. So, I can only tell you that there are other strategies to frustrate vote buying, but I don't want to expose all our strategies, because we are fighting against a very, very determined enemy. That we must be very strategic in exposing all of our strategies to deal with them. And the very contentious issue of Biafra is something that I have addressed several times. You see, I wasn't around when I was born after the war ended. So I never fought during the war. And sometimes you can even excuse my ignorance about the gravity of the war. But what I know is that you cannot kill 3 million people during the war, declare that the war is over, and never do anything to reabsorb the people who you fought against and think that the country will be all right. The cry for Biafra, though, is not a cry for secession as much as a cry for justice in Nigeria. Nigeria has done just to the people of the Southeast, and they are doing it systematically ensuring that there is no infrastructure that will benefit or enhance the life of an Igbo man or their progress. That you do not have airports there. I'm telling you, the lack of the second Niger bridge up until now is deliberate. That's the truth. But our brothers, they are also making the mistake. You cannot be voting for people who fought war against you and expect the war to end. Buhari fought during the war. There were people who were in charge of the war and killing actively in Asaba. Obasanjo fought during the war. You understand? In fact, every other Nigerian leader somehow supported that war, because in my view, the only person who was not in Igbo land who didn't support the war was Wole Soyinka, and they jailed him for having the temerity to oppose the war. Every other person somehow was complicit. That's the truth. And that is why when I started this whole campaign, I made it clear that first Nigeria must sit down and apologize to Biafrans. And then we must bring them into the fold by way of developing the Southeast. And then we must have concrete conversations about what Nigeria should look like. But don't let us be under any illusion that a secession will automatically bring an end to the suffering of the Southeast. The reason is this, and I'm not being naive. Nigeria has trained so many bastards in the center that when you even succeed, they will go back home and destroy the Southeast the way they are destroying Nigeria now. And I can name all their names, but I don't have time for that here. Let's discuss serious things. And if Biafra is succeeding and successful, and is still surrounded by the same dregs of the society called Nigeria, they will overrun Biafra. That's the truth. You know, but think about it also. Some of the injustices done in the Biafran nation are done by Biafrans themselves against their own people. They order the killing of Biafran activists. They do all kinds of things, and I can name them because as a reporter I have reported on every injustice done in Nigeria in the last 12 years. At least I have a history of that with me. So what can we do to bring back our brothers and sisters in Biafra? First is justice. Second is justice. Third is fairness. And then we must visit development. And the last thing I will say is that you people, or the Igbo person, thinks that is the only person who has seceded from Nigeria. It's a lie. A lot of Nigerians have seceded from Nigeria. They are just waiting to leave. I'm telling you, a lot of Nigerians have mentally left the country. Because in Nigeria today, if you build a house, you are the one who has to provide water for yourself. So every house is like a local government. You have to provide your own security. You have to provide your own school. You have to provide even your own religious place of worship within the compound. Because you constantly need to be praying to survive anywhere in Nigeria. So a lot of Nigerians have seceded from Nigeria. I said it yesterday, someone was laughing at me. I said, if US, Australia, and Europeans allow Nigerians to leave Nigeria, say, we'll give you a visa if you want to leave, 70% of Nigerians will leave. I'm not saying, that will remain, the only people that will remain are people who probably cannot physically move. Nobody will be left in Nigeria. I'm telling you, 70% of Nigerians will live in the opportunity to live. What is that? Is that not secession?
Yes.
Yes, and I can guarantee you that I will do that. I will bring back a Nigeria where not only should we have a second Niger bridge, we should have a third Niger bridge with a fast-moving train that can take you from Onitsha to Lagos in 2 hours. Then what else do you want? If you can go to Kano and come back and nobody will kill you, you do your business. Isn't that what we are looking for? What is Ethiopian airline in Nigeria? Is it not the airline that brings evil businessmen and out of China? So if we can go and buy the best shoes in Aba instead of going to Italy, what do you think the Igbo man will feel? Happy. The same thing applies to all other tribes. The last question I want to answer is, what's the challenge that can make you not win this election? I'm going to surprise you.
Come on.
Yes. The challenge is you. It's not even money. This is an election that is for us to win. In my view, this is the easiest time to defeat the old, ragged, corrupt, useless leaders. So, if we don't defeat them, it's our fault. It might be because we doubted our ability to do it just a little bit and didn't get it. Otherwise, I've never seen at a time that is a better point of unity for the oppressed against the oppressors in Nigeria than this time. Almost everybody is speaking with one voice in Nigeria. Even those who might be articulating, they know that it's business. Because people articulating is because of what they heard happen in Port Harcourt that is making them to hyper-articulate. They want to collect the man's money. But what we are telling them is that the money they are giving back to you is not their money. It is the money they stole from you that they are giving you just piecemeal of it. Where is Atiku's cocoa farm? Where he made all the money that he went and spent 20 million naira in Port Harcourt in one day. If that happened here in Australia, they will be arresting people for 2 weeks. Because everybody that collected that 5,000 will be arrested if it happened in America. To come and explain how you go and collect money that you knew was a proceed of corruption. That is how people are treated. When Aaron went down, the typist who typed one of the letters went to jail. They asked her, did you know that the letter you were typing was aiding and abetting corruption? You cannot give excuse that, oh, I didn't know, or my Oga sent me. No! You are supposed to know because you have conscience, you have independence of mind. But look at where we are in Nigeria. People are talking about Atiku simply because he's giving back money he stole. Just a portion of it, just a fraction of it. So, I don't think that we can win this election. In fact, it is not part of my, it's not part of my thinking and planning that we will not win. As I'm here, the next time I see you here in Sydney, if I don't come back before the election, it will be as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, we can take the next 3 questions or 4 questions.
All right. We would, thank you very much for that. I hope this is being helpful. Now, the organizers are telling us the food has been on the table for about 2 hours. For food and safety, we want to make sure that we can have that food when it is the right time. But we don't want to as well interrupt all the the dynamics that is happening here. So we're just wondering, if you're very hungry, you can quietly go to the back. I think somebody will be up there to serve you. But if you're happy to wait at the end, then we can all do it together. So what's the consensus? Yes? We went to the end. Yes. All right, we have 3 people here from this table. So we do the same thing. So over to you, Ladam.
Thank you. Mr. Sowore, I want to first of all salute your courage and also your integrity and of course your presence here. My name is Sydenews. I live on the central coast of New South Wales, which actually is the best part of Australia. When next you ever visit Australia, I will be delighted to have you there. So, and my question, first of all, the greatest deficiency in Nigeria is the loss of compassion among our leaders. And that for a lot of people, they would define compassion as your ability to recognize another human being and treat that person with care and kindness. And of course in Nigeria, you know, most of these leaders are lacking in compassion. And this is the reason why you have the so-called senator or honorable member with 20 cars at home, and they don't really care that the villager in the village doesn't have any transport, so they will never think of providing transport. The same thing applies to electricity. This is the reason why they have 24 hours light in their homes, but they don't realize that the real Nigerians don't have electricity. I'll give you an example, and the reason why I mentioned Central Coast, we have an honorable member of Parliament, can't think of his name, just a few years ago, he actually controlled, he was a special advisor to the Prime Minister, and he controlled a budget of $13 billion. Now, when he retired from Parliament, he actually volunteered to become a bus driver in one of the nursing homes. He was driving buses for several years. I mean, he must be in his almost late 80s now. My question is, Mr. Sowore, how, as the future leader or president of Nigeria, how do you gauge your level of compassion? Do you really have that compassion to serve your people? That's my question.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very good question. Okay, nice one.
Good evening. So first of all, let me say I'm a big admirer, and I've also invested in Sahara Reporters. Wow. You know, seeing you, it reminds me of 2009. I was a master's student in postgraduate lab, and I set a goal of inviting 10,000 people to your platform. Wow. So I'm invested in you. Thank you. So I have 3 questions that border on your policies, because I've read the AAC manifesto, the AAC policy, and also when you initially wrote the TIB one. And so I want to ask you questions about minimum wage, structure and security. Well, I'll start with structure because structure affects everything. Throughout your manifesto and throughout everything you've been saying, you haven't really talked about the structure of Nigeria, the way Nigeria functions, and the way government functions. And it's instructive that you're actually in Australia. Australia has a structure that Nigeria used to have. Nigeria at the beginning had the same structure that Australia has now. So in the beginning, in 1960, we had a small federal government that was holed up in Marina, and you had big regional autonomous regions. Actually, they were like countries. They generated their own taxes, they spent their money the way they wanted to spend it, and they were very responsive to their constituents. And they would contribute taxes, small taxes, to the federal government. The federal government had the duties of looking after the ports,